I stared at the man in front of me, my heart pounding so violently I thought it might crack my ribs. This couldn't be happening. Just hours earlier, I'd married what I believed was an elderly, frail man in a wheelchair.
Now,
In the dim light of our enormous bedroom, he had slowly peeled away the mask covering most of his face. What stared back wasn't wrinkled skin or tired eyes. It was a guy who looked maybe 26, with sharp jawline, dark tousled hair, and those intense green eyes that locked onto mine like he could read every panicked thought racing through my head. I couldn't speak. My breath caught in my throat, and the room felt like it was spinning. But let me take you back to how I ended up here, standing frozen in a stranger's mansion on my wedding night. 3 weeks ago, life was already crushing me under its weight. I was pulling double, no, triple shifts in New York City just to keep my family from drowning. Mornings at a busy coffee shop in Midtown, afternoons folding clothes at a retail store in Soho, and nights cleaning office buildings downtown until my hands were raw and my back ached constantly. I was 24, but I felt twice that age most days. Every paycheck went straight to rent, groceries, my dad's medications, my little brother's school stuff, and trying to replace my sister Mia's worn-out sneakers without her noticing how bad things were. That night, after mopping endless hallways until past midnight, I dragged myself home to our cramped Queens apartment. My phone showed 6 missed calls from Mom. The second I heard her voicemail, my stomach plummeted.
Ava,
It's your father. He collapsed at work. We're at Mount Sinai. The doctors say he needs emergency surgery or he might only have a few months. I don't remember much of the frantic cab ride or bursting through the ER doors. All I can recall is the doctor's grave expression when he said the procedure would cost around $200,000. Without insurance covering it, we had nothing, no savings beyond $800, no assets. Mom hadn't worked since her own injury last year. I sat in that sterile waiting room at 2 a.m, tears streaming until there were none left. Just hollow numbness. How do you save the man who raised you when you're already working yourself to exhaustion? That's when he approached, a polished man in a tailored suit carrying a leather briefcase that screamed money. He sat beside me like we had an appointment. Miss Thompson? I'm Mr.
Harlan.
I represent someone who wants to help you. Desperation makes you listen when sanity would tell you to walk away. He laid out the deal plainly, his client, Mr. Harlan Caldwell, an elderly wealthy businessman, needed a wife for exactly 1 year for legal inheritance reasons he couldn't detail. In return, I'd get $500,000 plus immediate coverage of all my family's medical bills. The conditions were strict: sign a strict confidentiality agreement, decide within 24 hours, and marry a man I'd never met. Why me? I asked, voice barely above a whisper. Mr. Harlan smiled thinly. Because you're loyal. You've been carrying your family on your back without complaint. My client values that above all. I barely slept that night, pacing my tiny room, weighing the risks. This could be dangerous. A scam. Anything. But Dad's face in that hospital bed haunted me. At dawn, I called and said yes. 2 days later, I met my future husband at his sprawling estate in the Hudson Valley, more like a compound with gated grounds, manicured gardens, and echoing marble halls. A butler named Thomas escorted me to a sitting room where Mr. Caldwell waited in a wheelchair, masked over most of his face, gloved hands resting on his lap. His voice was weak and raspy. We spoke briefly. He asked about my family. I asked about the marriage. Vague answers about business obligations. He seemed frail but polite. I told myself I could endure 1 year to save Dad. The wedding was intimate. Just us, Thomas, Mr. Harlan, and a bored judge. I wore a simple white dress Mom helped choose. Mr. Caldwell sat in his wheelchair in a loose black suit. Vows exchanged. Rings slipped on, probably worth more than our apartment. Pronounced husband and wife. I moved in that same day. Thomas showed me to the master suite, a cavernous room with a massive bed. Mr. Caldwell will join you shortly, he said. I perched on the edge, still in my dress, fighting panic. When the door opened and he rolled in, still masked, I stood nervously. You don't have to be scared, he rasped. I know this is odd. Odd is one word for it, I replied, forcing a smile. He moved closer, hands trembling slightly. I need to be honest.
Ava.
I haven't told you everything. My pulse raced. He reached up and removed the mask. Time froze. The face beneath wasn't old at all. Strong features, maybe mid-20s. Dark hair slightly messy. And those piercing green eyes watching me intently.
What? Who are you?
I stumbled back, voice breaking. My name is Ryan, he said, voice now clear and steady. No rasp. And I need you to listen before you run. But I was already reaching for the door. If you leave right now, Ryan said quietly, your father's surgery gets canceled in 10 minutes. My hand locked on the knob. Behind me, I could hear him waiting. My mind screamed to flee. This was fraud. Danger. But Dad's pale face in the hospital flashed again. You're threatening me. I turned, anger rising over fear. You lied about everything. Ryan looked uncomfortable, running a hand through his hair. I'm not threatening. I'm explaining the contract terms. Walk away, and it's void. That's still a threat.
He sighed,
Sitting on the bed's edge, suddenly looking tired without the disguise. Sit.
Please.
Let me explain. Then decide. I stayed standing. My real name is Ryan Caldwell. Harlan Caldwell was my grandfather. He raised me after my parents died in a crash when I was 7. He was tough, demanding, but he loved me his way. What does that have to do with pretending to be him? He died 2 years ago. Heart attack. I blinked hard. I decided not to report it. Because of my uncle, Victor Caldwell, Harlan's younger brother. He's been waiting for Harlan to die to seize Caldwell Enterprises. My grandfather knew Victor was ruthless. Would gut the company for profit, fire thousands, destroy communities it supports. The pieces clicked, though it sounded insane. Ryan had faked being his grandfather for 2 years using makeup, voice tech, the wheelchair, limited appearances. Thomas was in on it. The will required Harlan to be alive and married when Ryan turned 27 in 11 months. Otherwise, everything went to Victor. That's why the marriage clause. Your lawyer picked me because I was desperate, I said bitterly. Ryan didn't deny it. We needed someone loyal who wouldn't ask too many questions.
I'm sorry.
I did what I had to protect my grandfather's legacy. Silence stretched. I was trapped. Dad was already in surgery thanks to this deal. I couldn't abandon my family now. What happens next? We continue for 11 months. Public appearances as devoted wife to an old man. After my birthday, company is mine. You get the rest of the money. Quiet divorce. It sounded survivable. But then his phone rang. Thomas. Sir, intruders broke into your sister's apartment. They're asking about Ava's sudden marriage. Left a note. The truth always comes out. My blood ran cold. Then the lights cut out completely. Footsteps in the hall. Slow and deliberate. Approaching our door. Ryan grabbed my arm in the dark. Don't make a sound. They're here. He pulled me toward a hidden panel. A secret passage opened with a click. We slipped inside just as the bedroom door rattled. Narrow, dusty corridors lit by emergency lights. Grandfather built these for paranoia, Ryan whispered. Stay close. Behind us. Crashing sounds as they broke in.
Victor's men, Ryan said.
Looking for proof Harlan is dead. We reached a hidden office with security monitors. 3 masked figures ransacked the house. Thomas appeared on screen, calmly offering tea like nothing was wrong, buying time as they smashed things. Ryan checked files. All key documents were off-site in a safe. I asked about his grandfather to distract from terror. Harlan built Caldwell Enterprises from one factory into a billion-dollar empire, but was lonely. Drove people away. Ryan learned everything from him after losing his parents. That's why I'm doing this, to protect the jobs, the communities. Hours passed watching the search. At dawn, they left but stuck a note. We know about your sister, Mia. 15. Walks home alone from school every day at 3. Maybe she knows something. It was almost 3 now. I panicked, dialing Mia's number. Ryan stopped me. If they're watching, a call alerts them. He had Thomas track her location. She was heading toward an abandoned industrial area. Not home. Lured by fake messages. We raced in an unmarked SUV. Ryan driving aggressively through traffic. Private security reported a black van tailing her. We intercepted just as the van sped up. I yanked Mia into the car. Back at the mansion, I explained partially the marriage was a business deal. Threats from rivals. Mia was smart. Pieced some together. But worse news, Mr. Harlan, the lawyer, found dead in his office, ruled suicide, but timing suspicious. Then an encrypted email with video, Mr. Harlan 2 weeks ago meeting someone, plotting to frame me when fraud exposed. The voice?
Dr.
Ellis, my father's doctor of 2 years. Connected to Victor, married his sister. Victor had manipulated my dad's illness, inflated costs, used us as bait to make me the scapegoat. Ryan vowed we'd fight back. Gathering evidence for a board meeting tomorrow. The next hours blurred into frantic preparation. Ryan and Thomas compiled bank records of Victor's payments to Dr. Ellis. Phone logs linking to the break-in crew. The framing video. Proof of inflated surgery costs. Harrison, no. Thomas had been quietly documenting Victor's moves for years on grandfather's orders. At 9 a.m., we headed to Caldwell Enterprises headquarters in Manhattan. I wore a simple black dress. Heart hammering, but kept my chin up. Mia stayed secured at the mansion. The boardroom overlooked the city. 15 serious executives around a long table. Victor sat at the far end, smug with gray hair and sharp features. When he saw me enter beside Ryan in the wheelchair disguise, his eyes narrowed. Brother.
And your new bride. How?
Unexpected. Ryan, still raspy and masked, announced an important update. Victor interrupted about the marriage, raising questions. You're right, Ryan said, ripping off the mask. Gasps erupted. Board members stood. Victor's face twisted from shock to rage. I'm Ryan Caldwell. Harlan died 2 years ago. I've maintained the pretense to protect this company from my uncle Victor, who's under investigation for conspiracy, fraud, possibly murder. Victor shouted for arrest. But security, loyal to Ryan, didn't move. Screens lit with evidence. Videos. Financial trails. Everything. Victor's plan exposed. Frame me as gold digger who manipulated a sick man. Discredit Ryan. Seize control. Grandfather's fool will had a clause barring Victor from any benefit if he engaged in criminal acts to take over. Proof sealed it. Board voted unanimously to remove Victor. Security dragged him out screaming. Ryan squeezed my hand under the table. Relief washed over me. But questions lingered. Back at the mansion, Mia asked what happened next. Divorce? Ryan and I exchanged looks. We'd faced death threats. Betrayal. lies together. The 11 months remained, but something real had sparked amid the chaos. Dad recovered fully after proper treatment.
Dr.
Ellis lost his license, faced charges. Victor went to trial. Yet as weeks passed, Ryan and I talked more real talks, not contracts. He admitted pretending exhausted him. Being with me felt authentic. I confess the arrangement saved us, but taught me trust is earned slowly. We chose to stay, turning a lie into possibility. But the moral lingers. How far would you go for family? And can love bloom from deception?